And joining me here in the studio is Sourabh Gupta, Senior Asia-Pacific International Relations Specialist at the Institute for China-America Studies. So we heard the numbers there, more than 30,000 troops over the last 30 years, and that will only continue to grow. What do you make of this recognition by the United Nations?
I think it's a recognition of the welcome development of seeing China much more involved in the international community. Think about it, till about 1990, China did not have any peacekeepers at all. It sent its first observers in 1990. You know, we had a new world order, and China took a new step. And from that point onwards, China has just continually moved forward in engaging the international community. I would say that engagement can happen even more faster, and it's obviously a very good sign to see Chinese peacekeepers.
What has been the Chinese impact on peacekeeping missions around the world, would you say?
I would say the Chinese impact, China has shown that it is a major stakeholder and a global stakeholder committed to peace. We know in Africa there are a lot of problems, and it's not just Africa, it's West Asia and a lot of other countries. Peacekeeping sometimes is just a few people, but their impact on the ground goes a very, very far distance. A couple of years back, we were thinking there was an issue. It did not involve the Chinese. It was in Sierra Leone, and we were thinking there might be a real ethnic slaughtering out there. And all it took was the British going in and putting their flag out there and saying that we will keep the peace here. And none of that bloodletting took place. So what it takes is sometimes just few people getting there, but being there and showing the flag. And it's good to see China doing it, because when China does something, it does it with purpose.
And also, when you think of the global perception, when you associate different countries and their militaries or in different areas around the world, I mean, you think of China and peacekeeping, you think of some other countries and their militaries, not exactly in the same regard.
Yeah, it's not exactly in the same regard. And it's useful, actually, to have the Chinese out there because, again, let me go back to 1990. There was this great idealism when that new world order came that peacekeeping, UN peacekeeping, could actually be something very fundamental in not just keeping the peace, but also much beyond that. And somewhere that dream faded away, died in Somalia in 1993, and peacekeeping, and of course in Bosnia and all those places thereafter. To have the Chinese there again, to have the Chinese there with purpose might actually help UN peacekeeping from that perspective for a much longer period of time in trying to create a new idealism in multilateralism and in peacekeeping, which is, as I said, just a few people goes a long way sometimes.
And would you say that the threat of extremism in recent years has changed training and how peacekeeping is managed?
Oh, it has, because a lot of, when peacekeeping was conceived, it was conceived that the warring groups, at least there was going to be a ceasefire, there was a peace to be kept. And if peace had to be enforced, it was a dangerous place to go to, and the UN was uncomfortable with that. And unfortunately, what we see in these days is sometimes missions which are more peace enforcement missions, and those can rapidly descend into chaos and those sort of things. And I think China has been wise when it goes in out there. It has done combat missions and peacekeeping, but it has restricted most of its activities to things like engineering, logistics, et cetera, try to go build things out there, build things which people will value. And I think from that perspective, China has entered this area smartly, but I'd like to see a lot more Chinese engagement in peacekeeping and recreating that idealism around multilateral peacekeeping.
All right, Sourabh Gupta, always great to have you on. Thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you.